Well, folks, welcome back to Allergic to Stupidity. It is April the 22nd. It is Earth Day. So if nothing else, get out there and enjoy the sun. As in Southern Ontario, we have blue skies and it's not bad for a spring day. And I hopefully the weather is nice wherever you are because it is Earth Day. Let's take care of it. Next, if you just watched the last video I put online an hour and a half ago, you'll know why I was absent over the weekend. But so this is Political Sundays, a couple of days like what kids do, yeah, especially adult kids. Enjoy your coffee. Okay, it is Political Sunday, and there's a couple of things I want to talk about. And it has to do with our politics, Southern politics. But the first thing I want to show you is part of a clip from the Planet D, which are a Canadian couple who do tourism blogs and Canadian Pride. And she's actually from Alberta, and I'm not sure where they live now. But I want to show you this, and then I want to discuss one of my issues, not what they have to say. Okay, so just this one section.
Arnie, let's set the record straight on Trudeau, because every Poilievre supporter loves to shout, Trudeau broke this country, but facts don't care about slogans.
Trudeau cleaned up Harper's mess, okay? He brought back science, reopened Canada to the world.
Yeah, just paused it so you can read it. Some people will grumble about that, but naturalized Canadians are not reproducing at the rate we need. And because of us baby boomers, we need a working population. So there's that we need to worry about. The Syrian refugees, obviously, as the whole country was blowing up and exploding and not being a livable spot.
Invested in the middle class and steered the country through a pandemic without selling us out to private healthcare and billionaires.
He didn't just keep the lights on, he stopped Harper's ghost from bulldozing the whole power grid. And here are some of the things he accomplished. Dental care and prescription for low-income.
There we go. Just again, pause so you can read it. So Canadian dental care, free dental for kids, seniors, and low-income families. Yes, it's coming in slowly, but that's a good thing because let's remember what happened with the pandemic. Everybody tried to get their teeth into it as fast as possible, and there was so much demand so quickly that it sort of crashed. And so they started saying, this age group, or I think it was this month, you can do it this week. If your birthday was this month, you do it that week, kind of mentality, just so that they could keep up with the demand. $10 a day childcare, national affordability for working parents. We do need to realize that there have been some problems with that, and some people childcare centers are deking out of it, but at least there was a movement towards that. And notice they're saying, with help of the NDP, Canadian Child Benefit lifted 400,000 plus kids out of poverty. Well, this is now 2025. We'll see with that. Disability, new support for people with disabilities. These are things we've all forgotten, all because between the pandemic and the Freedom Convoy and the yells and the screams and everything else and the politicking and down south and all that, people forget these things. They just sort of get in there and then we forget about it. We're human.
Income families, seniors, and kids under 18. CERB and wage subsidies that kept Canadians afloat during COVID.
Don't tell me you didn't use it.
Okay, I backtrack a little bit. There we go. Whoops.
Income families, seniors, and kids under 18. CERB and wage subsidies.
There we go. Again, so you can read. Okay, CERB, wage subsidies. The Liberal government is again saying we'll do some subsidies to help those companies that are having financial issues due to the tariffs that are happening from the south. Maintain a AAA credit rating, even through the global crisis. For the average Joe, that doesn't mean anything. But if you're an economist or somebody who reads a lot about the economy, that's a big deal because that lets investors go, okay, they're AAA, they're worth investing in. grew by 3.2 in 2022, surpassed the G20 average of 3.0, which is not loud and noisy.
Subsidies that kept Canadians afloat during COVID.
Don't tell me you didn't use it.
He funded truth and reconciliation initiatives.
Okay, this has always been a big thing with Justin Trudeau specifically, but this would have been supported by the NDP and other groups. So, Indigenous reconciliation. Okay. Remember that the federal government made treaties with these tribes and these cultures that they could continue to live off their lands and live the way they want to. And the Canadian government in the past haven't always kept the government side of it. And so it just has always been a push from him. I could have told you that in 2014 when he first became leader of the Liberal Party, that this was going to be something that he would be pushing. Okay, make Indigenous rights Canadian law. Okay, do you realize once upon a time, us ladies didn't even have rights by Canadian law. We now have them, and he's pushing that every Canadian citizen has, or every person living in Canada, period, has Canadian rights.
That were ignored by Harper. He cut taxes for the middle class and raised them on the wealthiest 1%, and brought unemployment to historic lows pre-COVID and again after recovery.
Was he perfect? No. He stumbled a lot, but he showed up, he fought for Canada, and in the end, he passed the baton to someone who could keep building, not tear it all down.
Okay. I just want you to see that. In all this, the politicking, as I call it, going on right now, I want people to just take a minute and pause and say, this is what the party did before. People do get tired of a party being in power. It's human nature. Maybe the other side, maybe the grass is greener on the other side mentality. But I want, when people go into an election, that the glasses are clean and they're really seeing what's out there. So same thing, if we're flipping, if there's a conservative government at the time and people are tired of it, take 5 minutes to go back and see what, in my example, the conservative government was doing. And maybe we may not we may be tired of that leader because that is the face of the party, but maybe they've been doing really good things. So always judge people by their actions. So i.e. I don't like Trump, I don't like his actions. That's why I don't like Trump. Simple as that. So judge a person or a party by their actions. And to do that, you need to go back like the Planet D did and say, this is what they did. They also conceded he wasn't perfect, but none of us are. I know Harper put lots of clauses in that he honestly thought would help and was surprised when they didn't help. Right? So there you go. Now, on to an issue I've had for years and years, but it's sort of rearing its ugly head right now, and it's politics. The Americans right now are faced with a leader that more and more than going, this isn't what we voted for. And I sit here going, now how did they get rid of it? How can they get rid of Trump? They can impeach Trump, but then who comes in is J.D. Vance. Well, which one, right? Like, how do you vote? But what we have up here is what frustrates the daylights out of me. And it's called a non-confidence motion. So if you're in a minority government, as you all know, we were, if a government pushes a bill through or tries to push a bill through and they don't get enough votes to support that bill, not only is the bill out, the whole government has to close down and we have to have an election. And I'm using Pierre Poilievre just because he's the last one to do it, but trust me, the Liberals have done it, the other Conservative Party leaders have done it, etc., etc. So like, this isn't just him. He spent a month and a half, 2 months last fall, before the Christmas break, doing nothing but one non-confidence motion after another non-confidence motion after another. He literally closed down the House of Commons and got absolutely nothing done, trying to bring the government down because his polls were wonderful and fantastic. And he knew if he could get an election called, he could become the next Prime Minister of Canada. So instead of worrying about getting the work done that the government needs to do, getting bills passed, etc., he was more concerned about bringing down the House, which just pissed me off because now nothing is getting done. They're there to work for us. Okay. So mine is have a non-confidence motion that brings the bill down, but doesn't cause the government to come down. So don't get enough votes for the bill to give everybody $500,000 a year. That bill dies on the table, but that doesn't make the government crash. And I have no problems with a non-confidence motion in that situation. If the bill isn't, if there's not enough people thinking the bill should pass, then yeah, don't pass the bill. Like, and right, that just makes sense. But when it's used to bring the government down, and trust me, the Liberals have done it too, and it's always bothered me. Don't care what party it is. It's like, no, just agree to disagree on that bill. Brings it down. So mine was, can we just get rid of the non-confidence motion? Or do what I just said. It kills the bill, but it doesn't kill the government at the time. Because what can happen, ask Joe Clark, you can get a minority government, and within 6 months, you're taking the Canadian people back to the polls. People get tired of a poll after election after election after election. It's a waste of money. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of my energy. And why am I going to bother go vote? So that's literally Joe Clark beat Pierre Trudeau. Pierre Trudeau started to step down. Joe Clark's government died in a non-confidence motion, and Pierre Trudeau had to step back in because they hadn't elected another Liberal leader. So he got voted back in. So that's where I have a problem with non-confidence motions. But in the last few months, I'm thinking, okay, maybe this non-confidence motion to bring down a government isn't that bad an idea, because if the Democrats and the those people on the Republicans side, because they vote more conscience, they don't vote party lines like we do, could pull a non-confidence and make the government crash, they could get rid of Trump and J.D. Vance and have another election, but they'd have to go through that whole process and everything else. But at least there would be a way for them to get rid of Trump. Because right now he's sitting on his laurels going, yeah, can't get rid of me for 4 years, and I'm going to see what I can do to make sure I stay in there for another 4 years. So that's sort of my thing. Now, back to Canada. What I would like to see is that, yeah, there are times we need to get a non-confidence motion on the government itself, but have it as a moral vote. Nobody's following party lines, because we do tend to follow party lines in Canada. Nobody follows party lines, and everybody votes on a particular bill. And it could be we are putting a non-confidence motion against the government, and we say 75% of the people, not just 50, not just magic 50%, but that there's a 65% or a 70% vote against the government. Then that would let us to have that pressure valve where we could have the government have to fold and have to close House of Commons and call an election. That would allow us to bring down a government that nobody likes, versus just always having a non-confidence motion on a particular bill that is just taking up time and wasting House of Commons time. Anyways, that's my idea for political Sundays 2 days late, is that I wish the Americans had a way to get rid of a leader. They don't. UK does. We do. Anybody has our setup, Westminster parliamentary setup, has a way with non-confidence motions. I just wish they did, because that might keep him in check, though I don't think he cares. But then the Republicans and the Democrats together could vote him out. But right now they're stuck with him for 4 years. Even in 2 years when they do the midterms, the House may flip, the Senate might flip, but he still has this phenomenal, strange power over everybody that he's still going to be president for 2 years after that, and he can just keep doing executive orders, which we don't have. Well, we do sort of, but not like they have. And then for us in Canada, don't love non-confidence motions because they're used too much just to try and bring down the party in power, because the opposition's polls say they've got a good chance of winning. And so you waste so much time in the House of Commons. It's redundantly waste of time. But have that valve that says we are going to have a non-confidence motion on the government, not on the bill, on the government itself, which is one of the last ones Pierre Poilievre did. So this is a non-confidence motion on the government, not on against the bill. And then if it's not just a 50, it's a 65 or a 70, but a substantial amount over the 50 would then bring the government down. There you go. And the last one is, as you're sitting there getting ready to vote, if you've not already voted, take 5 minutes to look back at the actions of the government that was in power at the dissolvement of the parliament, and look at their record and see what they've done, just like the D Planet did, and list it. Now you can tell they don't love Poilievre, which is why I don't always watch their video, or I don't always bring their videos in. But when they gave the list of things, that's when, okay, now I've got facts to play with, and that I liked. Anyways, I hope everybody has a good day. Enjoy. Spring it's a cool spring this year, but at least it's spring and things are starting to pop. Take care, guys. We'll see you next time.